production of recombinant insulin, or what we simply call as humulin. Human insulin together is put as humulin. So production of recombinant insulin. Diabetic mellitus is a hyperglycemic metabolic disorder resulting from insufficient production of or resistance to insulin with consecutive metabolic dysfunction. So what we simply say is diabetes, as we all know, increase in the level of sugar in blood. That is what we simplify, what terms that we call it. So diabetes mellitus is a hyperglycemic, so increase in the level of glucose, metabolic disorder resulting from insufficient production of or resistance to insulin with consecutive metabolic dysfunction. In case if your body does not produce sufficient insulin, you will have a syndrome called as diabetes mellitus. And currently, some 415 million people suffer from diabetes worldwide. And by 2030, that figure is projected to reach 552 million, roughly 1 in every 16 people will be diabetic in the future. So I repeat the background of diabetic mellitus. Diabetic mellitus is a hyperglycemic metabolic disorder resulting from insufficient production of insulin with consecutive metabolic dysfunctioning. Currently, some 415 million people suffer from diabetes mellitus, and by 2030, the figure is projected to reach 552 million, roughly 1 in 16 people. So what is insulin? It is a hormone. Insulin is a naturally occurring hormone produced in the islets of Langerhans of the pancreas that regulates the metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and starches in the body. I repeat, insulin is a naturally occurring hormone produced in the islets of Langerhans of the pancreas that regulates the metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and starches in the body. Insulin is required by the cells of the body in order for them to remove and use glucose from the blood. Insulin stimulates the formation of glycogen in the muscles and in the liver, and it also controls the uptake of valine, leucine, and isoleucine by the muscles, which in turn helps to increase the synthesis of muscular proteins. I repeat the slide. Insulin is a naturally occurring hormone produced in the islets of Langerhans of the pancreas that regulates the metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and starches in the body. Insulin is required by the cells of the body in order for them to remove and use glucose from the blood. Insulin stimulates the formation of glycogen in the muscles and in the liver. Insulin also controls the uptake of valine, leucine, and isoleucine by the muscles, which in turn helps to increase the synthesis of muscle proteins. So if you look into this picture, on the left-hand side, you have the pancreatic duct, which is enlarged in the right side picture, where you have 3 different types of cells in the picture shown enlarged. The alpha cells that secretes glucagon, the delta cell that secretes somatostatin, and the beta cells that secretes insulin. So in case if the insulin secretion is not proper, there is no balance or maintenance of glucose in bloodstream. So it results in diabetes or diabetic mellitus. Why is insulin important? So what makes insulin important? Of course, all of us know diabetes is an autoimmune disease or an autoimmune disorder. So we have 2 different types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2 diabetes. So type 1 diabetes, the autoimmune disease where the immune system destroys the beta cells. So your own beta cells will be destroyed such that the insulins are not further produced by the beta cells. So insulin producing cells of the pancreas are destroyed. So pancreas does not produce enough insulin. So it requires daily administration of insulin. The cause of type 1 diabetes is not absolutely known, but it is not preventable with the current knowledge we have. So type 1 diabetes, autoimmune disease where the immune system destroys the beta cells, the insulin producing cells of the pancreas. Pancreas does not produce enough insulin. It requires daily administration of insulin. The cause of type 1 diabetes is not known and it is not preventable with the current knowledge. While type 2 diabetes, the body ineffectively uses insulin. The pancreatic cells will produce insulin, but it cannot be effectively used, and insulin may be produced in a lesser amount. Type 2 diabetes comprises 90% of people with diabetes around the world and is largely the result of excess body weight and physical inactivity. What we call as obesity is one big reason. And once you acquire diabetes, all the diseases or all the syndromes comes hand in hand. So that is the reason why insulin reduction is of very important. And type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes, and predominant diabetic that we see, if you see, is type 2 diabetes in nature, which affects around 90% of the people around the world or around the globe. So regarding the discovery of insulin and the humulin. Humulin is actually the human insulin, which is by rDNA technology. It's a hormone that is produced by rDNA technology. And insulin, two people who played a very important role, if you see, is Frederick G. Banting, whose period was 1891 to 1941, and Charles Best, 1899 to 1978. MacLeod worked with Frederick and Collip worked with Charles. That is where they are also depicted in the picture. So the two main historical people who played in the discovery or isolation of insulin gene, if you see. It was first isolated by Frederick G. Banting and Charles H. Best in the year 1921 at Canada. And human insulin hormone, humulin, is the first produced product of rDNA technology synthesized in the year 1978 by Genentech. So I repeat, insulin was first isolated by Frederick G. Banting and Charles H. Best in 1921. So historical perspective, you can include human insulin hormone or humulin is the first product of recombinant DNA technology, first synthesized in the year 1978 by the company Genentech. So how was insulin produced before rDNA era? Say one pig is looking at you. So pig and cattle's pancreas glands were the only source, available source, which was earlier used. So pig and cattle pancreas glands were once the only viable method that was used. This was sufficient for most diabetic patients. However, we had various issues. Animal insulin caused hypersensitivity reaction, or what we call as allergic reactions, in human beings while administered. And they do not match truly with what is called as human insulin, and not the most effective way or efficient way to obtain insulin. So of course, how was insulin produced before rDNA era? If you see, the pigs and cattle were the source of insulin production with their pancreas glands. This was insufficient for most diabetics. However, there was few issues. Animal insulin caused hypersensitivity reaction in humans while administered, not a true human match to insulin, and not the most efficient way, of course, to obtain insulin. Possibility of insulin production through recombinant DNA technology. How was insulin production possible by using recombinant DNA technology? So if you're looking at this picture, you will identify. So this picture very clearly depicts the central dogma. So the cell contains the DNA. Anything is coded by a chromosome or a gene. So gene will definitely have a DNA. It is transcribed to mRNA, and mRNA is translated to protein molecule. Of course, within the cell, cytoplasm and the ribosome with the nucleus play a very important role in the phenomenon. So DNA transcribed to mRNA and translated to protein, which is our made up of amino acid chain, or a polypeptides as we call it. So these mRNA could give you us a very best answer, how can insulin be produced? Proteins are made in cells by translating the genetic information carried in a cell's DNA. Insulin displays two features that facilitate its production by recombinant DNA technology. The first one is that the human protein is not modified after translation by the addition of sugar molecules. So, for a protein form, in addition of sugar or glucose add in the protein structure modify agadu. So, recombinant insulin synthesized by a bacterium should therefore be active. So, the first advantage or the first feature that is displayed by the insulin molecule so that it can be facilitated or it can be produced by recombinant DNA technology, if you see, is the human protein is not modified after translation by the addition of sugar molecules. And of course, the second big advantage is insulin is a relatively smaller molecule which is made up of 51 amino acid residues. So it is made up of two chains, the A chain and B chain. So the second advantage concerns the size of the molecule. Insulin is a relatively small protein comprising two polypeptide, one of 21 amino acid, the A chain, and one of 30 amino acids, the B chain. So I repeat the slide. The first is the human protein is not modified after translation by the addition of sugar molecules. Recombinant insulin synthesized by a bacterium should therefore be active. The second advantage concerns the size of the molecule. Insulin is a relatively small protein comprising two polypeptides, one of 21 amino acids, the A chain, and one of 30 amino acids, the B chain. So if you look into this picture, you will get a clear picture about what is called as insulin molecule. 1 second, I will get back to you. Okay. So if you look into this picture, the insulin molecule, it has two chains, A chain made up of 21 amino acid and the B chain is made up of 30 amino acid. These two chains are joined by what is called as disulfide bridges or disulfide bonds. So the insulin molecule diagram is given at the bottom. In human beings, of course, I told you the insulin molecule has a chain, B chain, A chain 21, B chain 30 amino acids. But in human beings, if you see, these chains are synthesized as a precursor molecule called as pre-pro-insulin. So we don't simply call as pre-insulin. It is synthesized in the form of pre-pro-insulin. It is modified to what is called as insulin molecule. So in humans, these contains a synthesized molecule as a precursor called pre-pro-insulin, which contains the A and B segments linked to a third chain called as C chain, which is preceded by a leader sequence. So pre-pro-insulin structure, how it will be, if you see, it will have a A chain, it will have a B chain, along with the C chain it will have, and of course these three chains will be leaded by a leader sequence. So this is the structure of pre-pro-insulin. A chain, B segment, third chain is C with an leader sequence. The leader sequence is removed after translation and the C chain is excised. Excised means cut. So it is excised, leaving the A and B polypeptides linked to each other by two disulfide bonds, and several strategies have been used to obtain this. Okay. I repeat the slide. In human beings, these chains are synthesized as a precursor called as pre-pro-insulin, which contains the A and B segments linked by a third chain C and preceded by a leader sequence. The leader sequence is removed after translation and the C chain excised, leaving the A and B polypeptides linked to each other by two disulfide bonds. So if you look into this picture, it will give a clear-cut idea of what the insulin molecule or pre-pro-insulin is all about. The top one, if you see, is the insulin molecule made up of two chains, A, B, 30 amino acids, 21 amino acids, which is linked together. Below that diagram, you have a stretch of DNA molecule, what has been referred as pre-pro-insulin. In pre-pro-insulin, you have a leader sequence, the B chain, the C chain with the A chain. Without a leader, in case of BC chain is without a leader, you call it as proinsulin. So insulin, in case if it has BCA with the leader, it is called as preproinsulin. Without a leader, it is called as proinsulin. So this molecule undergoes spontaneous folding, whereby the disulfide bridge is formed between the A and B chain. If you look into the third stage, it undergoes spontaneous folding, cleavage occurs, C chain is excised, and of course you have a B chain, A chain, and the big entire insulin molecule, which is made up of 51 amino acid residue. This is how the biosynthesis of insulin goes. Preproinsulin, the removal of signal peptide and signal peptide, is converted to proinsulin when the leader is removed. There is disulfide bridge formation in the proinsulin. The proinsulin molecule, there is removal of C chain, and a mature insulin molecule is produced. The full insulin molecule is produced with A and B chain with disulfide bridges. So disulfide bridges, as I told you, A and B chain is joined with two disulfide bridges, and this is the insulin molecule. The one which is given below is insulin molecule. Two chains are depicted, the A chain and B chain. If you see the A chain length, if you see, it is made up of 21 amino acids. If you look into the B chain, it is made up of 30 amino acids. The picture is not that clear, it is a bit blurred, depicting which amino acid is in which place. So the disulfide bond is formed between cysteine molecule of A and B chain. The first disulfide bridges is formed between the cysteine of 7th molecule in A chain and 7th molecule in B chain, while the second disulfide bridge is formed between 20th molecule of A chain and 19th molecule of B chain. So two disulfide bridges. Inter-disulfide bonds are formed between 7, 20, 19 of A and B chain respectively. There is one intra-chain disulfide bridge which is formed in A chain between what is called a cysteine 6 and cysteine 11 amino acid residue. Intra form 6 and 11. So if you look into what we need to consider now to create a molecule, if you see, is the A and B chain. A chain, of course, is made up of 21 amino acid, B made up of 30 amino acid. A and B is linked together by disulfide bridges. Which position? A chain la 7, B chain la 7, A chain la 20, B chain la 19th position. You have two disulfide bridges. So we are getting insight in detail. Production of insulin using recombinant DNA technology. So how are insulin produced? Using rDNA technology. So if you look into this picture before you look into the left hand side, so left hand side going to the right hand side picture. So I told you already you have two different genes, the A chain and B chain, coded by A gene and B gene. Go to the top picture. The picture top you will have two circle molecule depicted. Go to the left one. A vector molecule, a PBR322 type plasmid, or a vector molecule that is cloned with the A gene and lac Z prime, which is a lactic promoter. So lac promoter code link because a promoter sequence is required for a molecule to be translated. So reaction kondu varumbodhu translation nu nadakanum. Translation nadakkalana or promoter sequence kandipa irukkanum. So lac promoter use pannirpaanga with the lac Z prime gene to clone the A gene in a vector molecule. On the other hand, if you see the B gene, similar lac Z prime and a similar lac promoter. So two different vector to synthesize artificial A and artificial B gene. So what then we are doing is these two vectors are introduced or transformed to Escherichia coli cells in two different conical flasks. If you come down, synthesis of insulin protein, you have two different conical flasks with medium. The transformed Escherichia coli cells synthesizes A and B fusion protein. Why it is called as fusion protein is because the A chain is linked together with the beta galactosidase segment in the presence of methionine residue. So there is one methionine residue which links the A chain beta-galactosidase segment. On the other hand, the other conical flask that contains transform Escherichia coli will produce B chain. Similar way, beta-galactosidase with methionine. Since it is linked together with beta-galactosidase segment, it is called as fusion, mixed fusion or joining. Okay, fusion proteins. So the next stage is you have to remove or separate A chain separately, B chain separately from what is called as beta-galactosidase segment, for which you have to remove the methionine residue. Methionine remove, cut panni eduthittingana, you will get an A and B chain separately. The A chain is separated from beta-galactosidase and B chain is separated from beta-galactosidase molecule with the help of cyanogen bromide. Cyanogen bromide is used to get cleaved fusion protein. Cleave panni fusion protein varadhukku you will use cyanogen bromide. You will purify and A and B chains and attach with the help of disulfide bridges. So this is the work that is done to generate what is called as recombinant insulin earlier. So if you now go into the left hand side, genes coding for the A and B chains of insulin were synthesized as early as 1978. So as I told you, Genentech company was the one who first launched the production of recombinant insulin. 2 recombinant plasmids were constructed, one carrying the artificial gene for A chain and one the gene for the B chain. In each case, the artificial gene was ligated to a LAGZ prime reading frame present in a PBR322 type vector molecule. So I have mentioned the figure also, 14.8 if you see. So the A1 if you see is the 14.8 figure, the artificial gene. Why I mentioned it as 14.28 is because you will get a big picture of this in the future slide. That's why I've mentioned it. It is a cropped one. So the artificial gene, A is separately synthesized, B is separately synthesized using a vector molecule PBR322 type vector, which is ligated with a LAGZ prime reading frame. So LAGZ prime reading frame will have a lag promoter. So the insulin genes were therefore under the control of strong lag promoter and were expressed as fusion protein consisting of the first few amino acids of beta-galactosidase followed by the A or the B polypeptides. Why I have mentioned R is because A is separately synthesized, B is again separately synthesized. That is why we have mentioned so. The insulin genes were therefore under the control of the strong lag promoter and were expressed as fusion protein consisting of first few amino acids of beta-galactosidase followed by A separately, and the other vector will have beta-galactosidase with B polypeptides. Each gene was designed so that its beta-galactosidase and insulin segment were separated by a methionine residue, so that the insulin polypeptides could be cleaved from beta-galactosidase segment by treatment with cyanogen bromide. I repeat, each gene was designed so that its beta-galactosidase and insulin segments were separated by a methionine residue, so that the insulin polypeptides could be cleaved from the beta-galactosidase segments by treatment with cyanogen bromide. To have a look at this picture, this is an elaborate picture of what you saw already. So 2 vectors with A, B separately inserted into E. coli. E. coli is transformed with the vector. It is separately grown in conical flask. You get segments A chain with the beta-galactosidase, which is connected with methionine. Again, B chain with the beta-galactosidase connected with methionine. You're using cyanogen bromide to cleave the fusion protein, purifying A and B chain separately and attaching it with the help of disulfide bridges. The purified A and B chains were then attached to each other by disulfide bond formation in a test tube, laboratory condition. The final step involving disulfide bridge formation is actually rather insufficient. So this procedure, if you see, the previous procedure which I told you, every stage is successful, but the final disulfide bond formation in the test tube is what is difficult or becomes insufficient. So a newer technique is formed. A subsequent improvement was to synthesize not the individual A and B genes, tanitaniya A, B gene taniya synthesize pannama, but the entire proinsulin reading frame, that is B, C and A chain. மூணுமே சேர்ந்து ஒரு molecule அத வெக்டர் குள்ள போட்டு அத transform பண்ற மாதிரி synthesize பண்ணாங்க. A subsequent, one second, I will come back. A subsequent improvement was to synthesize not the individual A and B chains, but the entire proinsulin reading frame specifying B, C, and of course, what is called as A chain. Although this is a more daunting proposition. So it's very difficult because synthesizing 21 amino acid chain and 30 amino acid chain is a bit easier, while synthesizing an amino acid 51 amino acid chain together is a bigger size. So although this is a more daunting proposition in terms of DNA synthesis, the pro-hormone, one big advantage we have is it can undergo spontaneous folding into the correct disulfide bonded structure. So although this is a more daunting proposition in terms of DNA synthesis, the pro-hormone has the big advantage of folding spontaneously into the correct disulfide bond structures. The C chain segment can then be excised relatively easily by any proteolytic cleavage. So this is human or human insulin production, which is very recently followed. So from the human pancreas cell, the DNA is isolated. It is cloned in the vector molecule. From the bacterium, you're removing the plasmid DNA, you're cloning it to produce a recombinant DNA molecule. So the top left is human pancreas cell with the DNA, which is removed. And of course, the bottom left, if you have, is the bacterial DNA, which has a plasmid vector. The plasmid is removed. It is restricted with type 2 restriction endonuclease. It is ligated to produce a recombinant DNA. So recombinant DNA அப்படின்ற ஒரு molecule central இருக்கு. So then it is transformed to Escherichia coli cell. So the cell that is used here, if you see, is the bacterial cell Escherichia coli. The reason behind is Escherichia coli is a normal flora of your colon. Why especially E. coli is commonly used in any genetic experiment is it is a normal colon bacilli. The generation time of E. coli is only 20 minutes. You need not wait for days together because the multiplication or population doubling time, or what you call as generation time, is 20 minutes. It is non-fastidious organism. It does not require any supply of any new varieties of substrate for its growth. It can grow in a normal minimal medium. So Escherichia coli, if you see, is a non-fastidious organism, and the genome of the Escherichia coli is well known. It is well studied even biochemically. So the entire knowledge of Escherichia coli for researchers is very sound. And of course, that is the reason why most of the genetic experiment employs Escherichia coli as host organism. So once you produce a recombinant DNA molecule, you transform it into bacterial cell, Escherichia coli cell. You introduce to the fermentation tank the plasmid DNA, which has a recombined insulin molecule, will synthesize human insulin. It is extracted and purified, and then it is manufactured. So recombinant bacteria multiplies in producing human insulin in fermentation tank. Extraction and purification of human insulin takes place, and human insulin is manufactured. What are the advantage of human production using Escherichia coli? So E. coli, as I told you, is a normal common commensal flora or common colon bacilli. So it is approved by the Food and Drug Administration. It is safety and accessibility. It has worldwide supply. You can easily afford, it is easily affordable, or you can easily afford it because it is not that costlier. Elimination of risk of allergies. You do not get allergic reaction administering insulin in correct dose. So the dosage has to be fixed. If you over exceed the dose, or if the dose is not proper, if the dose is not maintained proper, of course you get any reaction. But elimination of risk of allergies in case the doses are used in an punctuated manner, which is designed by the physician or a doctor. The market for product is expected to reach around $54 billion in the forthcoming years. That is what I told you. The rate by 2030, is going to be massive with diabetes. So of course, the market for product is also expected to reach and bounds of $54 billion. So the advantage of Humulin production using Escherichia coli by rDNA technology to safety, FDA approved, accessibility, worldwide supply, affordability, elimination of risk of allergies, and market for product expected to reach around $54 billion. The benefits of insulin, rDNA insulin, less expensive, it is absorbed more rapidly by the body cells, has a shorter, more manageable duration of effectiveness, causes fewer allergic or autoimmune reactions than the animal insulin hormone. As I told you, if the doses are not maintained properly, you may develop any reaction. But still, comparing to animal insulin, it is safer for use. I repeat the benefits. It is less expensive, absorbed more rapidly by the body, has a shorter, more manageable duration of effectiveness, causes fewer allergic or autoimmune reactions than the normal animal insulin hormone.